Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for coming here today to this press conference. We are all here today to kind of describe to you the events that have taken place in the city of Springfield after the derecho hit Springfield, which, by the way, just for a record, I had never heard of that word until it hit, so it was a new one for me. I want to thank the press for being here and for getting our message out during this time. I also want to thank all of you that are in attendance, but the biggest thank you I have today is for our workforce. The city of Springfield has some of the best employees and staff members that you would ever imagine. I have been at the sewer barn. One of our managers is here today for our Public Works Department, where they all congregate in the morning to get in their trucks at 6 a.m. And those people, the men and women of that department, come to work with a smile on their face to go out and do very, very difficult work day in and day out. Our city water, light, and power crews have been out day in and day out working to try to restore power. Springfield Police Department and Springfield Fire Department have also been out. So I just want to first let you all know that my biggest thank you is to our staff members. I also want to thank the citizens in the community who are currently frustrated and are still without power. Thank you for your patience. On Thursday, June 29th at approximately 12:15, a derecho hit Springfield, causing over half of our customers, over 40,000 people, to not have power. These storms took down power lines and communication tools used by the city and our first responders. On Thursday, June 29th, the Springfield Police Department and the Springfield Fire Department worked hand in hand to communicate emergencies, including but not limited to fires, extrications, and emergency calls for help. I watched these first responders work hand in hand together, immediately side by side in our Emergency Operations Center, while calls could not come through. As the night unfolded, the enormity of the derecho became more than any of us could have ever imagined. Because of this, as mayor, I declared a local state of emergency for the city of Springfield. On that day, we had a curfew for Thursday evening from 10 p.m. to 5 a.m. due to over 133 live downed power lines. This one-time curfew was to ensure our citizens would have safety in the dark hours overnight and to not accidentally come in contact with a live downed power line. Since that fateful day, our crews have been working diligently to clear the roads, try to restore power, and collect debris. I want everyone here to think about the devastation that took place on that day. This devastation has been compared to me to the ice storms of 1978, as this devastation is citywide. It isn't just like a tornado that hits one particular area, it is citywide. Currently, our medical facilities were the first and foremost thing for us to get back up and running. That is what City Water, Light, and Power focused on, so that 911 and emergencies could have places for people to go. Life, health, safety measures were taken first. We have in place, and we have had in place since the emergency response, cooling centers and places where people can get cool and devices can be charged. Those facilities are, through the City of Springfield, our Municipal Center East, our Municipal Center West, Lincoln Library, the Office of Community Relations as well. You can also go to St. John's Breadline, Salvation Army, their main campus, and Salvation Army's overflow shelter, as well as Washington Street Mission, Helping Hands, and both YMCA locations have opened their doors to our citizens to get cool and charge their phones. Until tomorrow at 9 a.m., the NAACP is going to be also your cooling center and charging station. Tomorrow, after 3 p.m., the Red Cross is locating from the NAACP to the lower level of the Bank of Springfield Center. The City of Springfield will make sure that you have parking and the parking ramp adjacent to it for free. And then we are also going to have staffing there 24 hours around the clock. Our citizens that do not have power will be able to go to the BOS Center after 3 p.m. tomorrow to receive meals, charge their phones, have air conditioning. They can spend the night and take showers if they so choose. I was out on Saturday knocking on doors to customers of ours who have no power. The people that I met with told me that they wanted to just have a place to go to charge their phones, maybe get a bite to eat. Those people don't want to not be in their homes overnight. They want to sleep in their homes overnight. So the idea of the NAACP opening their doors and the Bank of Springfield Center, BOS Center opening their doors is so our citizens can have those places to go and feel safe. The people who are helping accomplish all of these things are your City of Springfield crews. Public Works has help from IDOT, which they will talk about in a minute. They also have equipment they have rented to encourage and help eliminate the debris all over the roadways. City Water, Light, and Power has help from out of state as far as New Jersey. They will touch on that with you in a minute as well. Sangamon County's Office of Emergency Management has been helping. American Red Cross has been helping. Illinois Department of Transportation, and of course, Governor J.B. Pritzker's office has been helping as well. The Laborers Disaster Response Team was out on Thursday and Friday, and I was with them on Thursday evening out. We have the Illinois Baptist Disaster Relief Team coming on Wednesday, July 5th to assess, and they will start work on July 6th. Homeowners can get help through the Illinois Baptist Disaster Relief Team for their property. How you can get this information is going by the city website, www.springfield.il.us, or you can also go to CWLP's website, which is www.cwlp.com. We also have printed information here today for you to take so that you will know how to phone in any assistance you need. What is currently happening right now? City Water, Light, and Power is going to touch on the additional work and the information they have about the disaster and what's going on in the future. The Sangamon County Office of Emergency Management is assisting all of us at the City of Springfield in increasing the request for help. That request includes equipment and man-hours. The expanded cooling center and device charging station at the BOS Center is a partnership with the BOS Center, its management and board, the City of Springfield, and the American Red Cross. At this time, I'm going to turn it over to Doug Brown to give you some comments about City Water, Light, and Power and what they have been experiencing.
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, I would say a disaster is probably an understatement at this point. The damage from the Derecho storm is much worse, again, in the 2006 tornadoes, and is definitely closer to that of the ice storm of '78. The sheer magnitude of that damage is citywide. It's across our entire electric grid system. CBLP employees, though, have been working extremely hard. We're working 17-hour days and staffing around the clock. They have really stepped up for this. Our first focus was on cleaning main roads for safe travel for emergency crews and city crews. Then they started repowering main feeder circuits. These are the lines that go from our substations out to the general areas of the city. All but one feeder has been restored, and now we're focused on laterals, repowering those that have the largest amount of customers first. We did focus on medical facilities, nursing homes, grocery stores, as much as possible to get those on first. We brought in contractors and mutual aid crews. 60 trucks so far, 81 additional personnel, and with more on the way. We are working with the Illinois Municipal Utility Association, the American Public Power Association, and Asplint, as well as the IEMA here in Illinois for additional assistance to help us with cleaning up the debris. So that's crews from New Jersey, Indiana, Ohio, Missouri, the city of Rochelle, Illinois, and the city of Batavia, Illinois. We already restored 30,000 customers and are now under 10,000 customers. We have almost 500 locations of outages still pending. It is impossible to predict each individual outage repair with miles and miles of damage to our electric grid. We are looking at replacing over 100 power line poles, over 200 cross arms, over 100 fuses, and maybe 1,000 insulators so far. We are staying ahead on ordering materials. We are now trying to put updates out to where crews are working as their work locations might give you a better chance of knowing what your status is for your outage. Over the last couple of days, restoring main feeders did not mean your area would be restored necessarily, because there could be additional damage further down the line on the lateral, the transformer, even the surface to your home or business. The remaining time frames are estimates of how long remaining customers will have until their power is restored. We'll have 30% of the remaining customers restored by Tuesday, end of day, 65% end of Friday, and 90% end of Sunday. Remember that these are estimates and they are depending upon the complexity of the repairs as well as weather. Our employees fully understand how extended outages affect our customers, and their priority is to get our customers back on safely and as quickly as possible. We will continue to focus on the largest sections of customers that can be restored first and move on down through the system. You know, there's one things that often come up is our crews might enter into an area and then have to come back out. That's because they could be assessing the area, assessing the damage, and then having to refocus maybe with additional crews, larger crews, or ordering materials or, you know, actually from our inventory and bringing them back out to the site. We have many crews that are just strictly out there canvassing the areas and reporting what they find back to our engineering groups so we can put the work order plans in place. Going to our outage center, basically what we have on our website at cbop.com. It has a lot of information out there for our customers. You know, not just our outage map, but there's other details on it that have information for basically what the customer's responsibility is versus the utility's responsibility. Because there, in some instances, there's homes that are damaged with their services that are on their home that's damaged. So they're going to have to hire an outside contractor to come in and repair that and coordinate with the utility on restoring their power. And again, reporting outages, again, that's 217. You can call 217-789-2121. That concludes my update so far. Mayor?
And just so the media knows, we'll be able to take questions after everyone speaks, so you'll be able to ask questions. I'm now going to turn it over to our Public Works Director, Dave Fuchs, so Dave can tell you what's been going on with Public Works and the cleanup effort that they are doing.
Good afternoon, all. Again, I'm Dave Fuchs, Director of Public Works for the City of Springfield. On Thursday, the 29th of June, this weather event started in mid-afternoon. Public Works crews immediately responded. The EOC was activated. On Thursday, all the main streets were opened to traffic by the end of that evening. Not cleared, but opened. On Friday, the 30th of June, Public Works crews worked and opened all of the secondary streets. All sets of debris that were not involving power lines were collected. The cleanup of the debris and the removal continues. We're working overtime, 12-hour shifts to accomplish this. Just to let you know how long this entire endeavor is going to take, every year there's a branch pickup here in the city of Springfield. It takes about a month. This endeavor is going to take much longer than a month. We have contracted additional equipment, primarily inloaders, to assist our crews. We also have an Illinois Department of Transportation crew, 4 trucks and an operator that have been sent to us and that we can expect to be with us for several weeks. The work continues. We ask people to be patient, and I know that's difficult. Bring your debris to the easement, put it on the curb. Don't put it in front of a drain, and our crews will get to it. We're working as hard as we possibly can. I also want to let people know that we have made arrangements to collect food waste. A lot of people have had spoiled food in their freezers and refrigerators. There are going to be 2 locations with dumpsters where that food waste can be taken. We don't want debris from the storm. We don't need leaves and branches. We also don't need anything that fell off of your house or your garage. We only want spoiled food waste. It's going to be at 600 Rickard, which is the location of the new fire station. That's Lawrence at Rickard. We're also going to be, that's west of Veterans. We're also going to be at 11th and Ash, the southwest corner. That's 2121 South 11th Street. These are large 20-yard dumpsters, and when they become full, they'll be swapped out for empty ones. Again, I want no illegal dumping. This is not for storm debris. This is not for anything that fell off of your house. This is for spoiled food. If you need to contact Public Works to have debris cleared, sidewalks, roadways, please call between the hours of 8 a.m. and 4:30 p.m. Monday through Friday, area code 789-2255. That's the main number at Public Works. After hours, you can call area code 217-789-2246. That is our dispatch. That's all I had.
Now I'm going to bring up our Fire Chief, Ed Canny, so Ed can tell you what the fire department dealt with on the evening of the devastating storms, as well as from them.
All right, so the Springfield Fire Department on the morning of Thursday, the 29th, we are the monitors of the weather, and we set off those tornado sirens, and that's when all of this began. So at that time, the storm came through, and it did take out the main primary communications tower for the fire department and some of the police department's radio communications. So as the mayor said, we worked side by side with PD to dispatch calls with our backup radios and actually by cell phones. Throughout that day, we fielded 360 calls. On an average day, we usually run about 65 calls, so 6 times the amount that we would normally run. By 7 p.m. that night, we pretty much had everything under control. We did prioritize all of our calls and ran medical calls and fires first, and we always do that. So since then, we are still running higher than average volume of calls. Roughly, on Friday we ran over 150, Saturday 125, and just about 100 yesterday. We did want to remind, our calls range from motor vehicle accidents, cars that were driving down the road during that storm had trees fall on them. So we actually had a few extrications that were attributed to the storm. We've had lines down, arcing, sparking, and then just general medical calls. We do want to remind everybody that if you do have a non-emergency that requires the fire department's assistance, we have a fire department non-emergency line at 217-788-8450, and please feel free to utilize that number. One other reminder, just as a reminder, tomorrow is July 4th, but it is also the first Tuesday of the month. And as we all found out how important those emergency outdoor warning sirens are, at 10 a.m. tomorrow is the scheduled test. So do not be alarmed. That is just the scheduled test, and I will turn this back over to the mayor.
Now I'm going to bring up the Assistant Chief of Police, Donald Mumma. Don's going to tell you what the police department has dealt with since the storm.
I'm Don Mumma. I'm the Assistant Chief of the Police Department. Basically on Thursday, the Springfield Police Department, along with the Fire Department, CWLP, Public Works, and several other city agencies opened up the Emergency Operations Center in the basement of our building. During that time, our officers, along with our detectives, began responding to our critical and high priority calls for service out on the streets. At that same time, we had our shift lieutenants begin to call in extra officers to work. We had some that were staying late that night. We had some officers work as much as 16 hours that day as well. That night, we also activated the mobile field force team because the power was still out in many places. That's a team that we are part of through ILEAS, who come in and work natural disasters, bring in extra resources, and they would go out and target those specific identified locations that we asked them to do. We've been utilizing HireBack since then to bring in extra officers. We've utilized our drones, which is a new asset for us, and seemed to work pretty well. We're currently working with the Red Cross, along with IEMA, on the BOS shelter that's being set up for tomorrow. From the time of this incident till about now, we've handled about 1,500 calls for service. And we know that we still have areas out there without power, and our officers are currently being tasked with basically entering those areas, slowly going through those to see if there's anybody that wants to come out and needs assistance. That's it.
So I want to wrap this up by letting you know that We at the city are aware that we have a large portion of our customers still without power. The devastation of snap power lines, as Doug stated, we have probably 7, 8, 9, 10 things that could be going wrong at any one location to create power not to be there. So it seems like it should be an easy fix, but it isn't. So we want our citizens to know that we hear you. We know it's hard. We know you're without power. We're doing our best to restore your power as quickly as possible and assess the damage. I was out, as I said, on Saturday talking to people, knocking on doors, and I specifically went to a neighborhood that I knew did not have power, and the people were kind. They were nice. I asked if they needed help charging their cell phones, charging their devices to have access to the media, to the internet, to news. Most of them were telling me they were charging their devices in their vehicles. They were going to their vehicles, starting their vehicles up and charging them. If people are running out of money or running out of gas, SMTD can get you to the BOS Center. We have the bus transport station right across from it. We will, Teresa Haley's here from the NAACP, and I want to thank her for opening up your building for charging stations and cooling as well, and overnight if people needed it, and the NAACP building. And the BOS Center, the president of the board is here, Mr. Mike Coffey, and I appreciate your cooperation as well. Most of the citizens that I met with on Sunday during the food drive said the same thing. We just want a place that we can go during the day to get cool, charge our devices, sit. Most citizens want to spend the night in their own home, in the comfort of their own home. And I remember a snowstorm probably about 15 years ago, and at my house we were without power for 5 days, and my husband, my daughter, and I slept around the fireplace because that was the only source of heat we had in the living room. I remember being bundled up. So I understand that need because I also wanted to stay in the comfort of my own home even without heat. So we want to accommodate our citizens the best that we can because we can't tell them, as Doug stated, exactly when their power is going to be on, and we know that's frustrating, and I hear you. I have talked to Doug about some solutions further on down the road that of course are costly, that I will talk to my city council members about spending money to upgrade our systems to see if we can increase our efforts there later on, but it's nothing we can do right now. So we just want to let you know we hear you, we feel you. The American Red Cross will feed you. They will assist you with the cooling center at the Bank of Springfield Center. It's going to be a 24-hour presence. There are showers there. Springfield Police Department will have a presence there at all times, so you will be safe. And we just want to make sure that our citizens know we are here for you. At this time, I'm going to open it up to the media for any questions. Quite frankly, we have not even had an opportunity to put that on. I just as mayor, with the emergency order that I put in place, it allows me as the mayor to spend money without city council's approval. So I authorized the purchase of poles for City Water, Light and Power because there are more poles snapped than they have. They needed more poles. And I authorized the overtime for Public Works and for City Water, Light and Power and Springfield Police. Great question. IEMA just stepped in and we started putting people on the streets. Again, it's what, 3 days in? It's not time to put a pencil to paper, but our citizens without power don't want to hear about costs. They want to hear about getting their power on, and that's my focus as your mayor.
For Mr. Brown, the mayor just mentioned some future preventative measures that could be taken. Is there anything that outdated with the current system, something preventative measures that could have been taken before this very unique storm?
Well, one of them is we've talked about it at council before with a lot of competing priorities for the utility. One item that we're looking at doing in the future is AMI, which is just their advanced meters. So that basically gives an indication wherever there's a meter, we would know if it has power or not. So that's something that we'd be looking at in the future. But again, it's competing priorities, so it'll be up to our direction, the mayor and the city council.
So that would just mean you would have a quicker time identifying where outages are.
Correct. Which actually does help speed up the process.
While you're up there, are the folks who are in the dark now, would this be the just one at a time kind of people after you've gotten, most of it lit up, or do you even know?
No,
You know what I'm talking about.
I know what you mean. We have varying groups. There's the highest level might be 500 on a circuit, and it goes down from there. We could have another group at 200, another group at 100, and then there's literally 500 of these out there. Some are only 10, okay? So that's about as low as it goes, so, for that. Does that make sense? Okay.
Did I understand you to say that some will be waiting until Sunday?
Correct. Yes, that's correct.
There's some that you have to wait.
Correct.
It's just, we're talking about infrastructure damage, storm 79.
There's varying levels of damage. You know, some are snap poles, some are trees down on lines, so the trees have to get removed. The transformers, fuses, it's a litany of varying different degrees of damage at each location.
Perhaps Dave addressed this, the website there, if you click on cell, it says estimated restoration time, and they're all blank. Is that something that
We would not be filling that in right now, no. That's almost impossible, really, to get to that level of detail.
So that's something that's part of that website that on smaller.
Correct, yeah, there's a lot of times they'll input that data.
I think we'll go in the row back here. I'm gonna.
You help me out.
Yeah, I will, yeah. So you asked, Dave, you asked, I'm gonna let each of you ask one, and then we'll go back if we have time.
Again, they're estimates. It depends on the complexity of the repairs. So, you know, we're not able to see we're not able to see every piece of damage across the city. It is widespread. It is devastating. So there is no way we can do that. And that was part of what I was talking about earlier when I was going through that. They go into an area, they assess it, and then they if it's an easy repair, they can get to it. And if not, then they have to back off and bring in other people, other crews, more material. That delays things. So that's why we have to go with percentages overall, looking at what those goals are to get people back on. And that's what we're going to focus on.
Actually, I had a question for Director.
Okay, that's all right, we'll just go down the line with the media. Fuchs, go ahead.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yes, sir.
You mentioned the dumpsters. Where will they be located again? And how are we going to monitor those? The city has talked about fly dumping and illegal dumping before. How would you monitor that to make sure the proper disposal is getting?
Yeah, the locations, once again, 2121 South 11th Street, which is the southwest corner of 11th and Ash. The other one is 600 Rickards, which is where the new fire station is going to be. That's at Lawrence and Rickards. They are going to be monitored by the waste hauler and by the city. So once again, and I appreciate you bringing it up, we don't want any storm debris. We don't want any building debris. We only want spoiled and rotted food. That's what these are for. A lot of folks have lost it. Their freezers, their refrigerators have not been able to function. They have rotting food, and that's what these are for. So,
Fox is next. The next question goes to Fox News. Fox News.
So my question was, I just want clarification, so that 60 trucks are coming in with 81 additional personnel. How long have they been here? How much longer are they going to be here?
Oh, they started arriving Friday. Yes, but like I said, we're not done yet. So we're in communication with various agencies. Again, like the American Public Power Association is really a national association, and they're able to reach out to other state associations and bring us that. So we're working with them to try to get, what they do is we have to kind of go through our own resources here and then keep going out. Go from there. Does that make sense?
So since Friday, has it been consistently around 60 trucks and additional 81 personnel around the city? Or have they, like, have they been here consistently helping out? And are they going to be here till Sunday?
Not all of them arrived Friday. It was just, Friday, Saturday, to yesterday, and today. And then more will arrive tomorrow, and probably Wednesday.
Is the max 81, or is it right now? What's the number at right now?
That was the 60 trucks and 81 additional personnel are on site now. Yeah, so, it's kind of there's an issue with, as we clear the main feeders and then go to the laterals, it clears, it's a predictive software. So we're trying to see if there's a way we can turn that feature off or get around it to make it so that the customers can see that they're still on outage. We're still recording it, that we know that they're still on outage, but it's a glitch in the software that we're going to have to address.
This one's for you, Mayor. Touched on the shelters and the cooling centers. With more hot weather and potentially more storms on the way, are there plans to open more shelters in the coming days, or is the
So as we met with the Red Cross this morning, that's part of the reason why they're shifting their location from the NAACP office to the Bank of Springfield Center, the lower level there, because that is a larger facility than the NAACP to accommodate more people. The Red Cross is just going to evaluate. In our meeting today, we spoke about other locations if needed and ideas, and the police chief and the fire chief are going to have their finger on the pulse of that center every single day. They're going to have people going in and out of there checking it, and then we're going to have Springfield Police there 24/7. So we will be able to know if it gets too full. After 3 p.m. tomorrow, so the American Red Cross is currently until 9 a.m. tomorrow located at the NAACP office. Then they're going to need time to shut that facility down, clean all the cots that they've been using, and then move them to the BOS Center because they do have to make sure that they sanitize everything. So they're going to use the time frame from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. for that sanitization. They will be prepared to serve meals when they open at 3 p.m. So if people need to eat, they will be prepared to serve meals. Okay, sir, you're in the front. I'll let you go, and then we'll go back that way again. Do you have a question?
So that people can dispose of the rotting food, that it's not at their domicile, and there's a central collection point.
part of the restoration effort going on for the next week or so, could other homes see blackouts again? We've had people that email us today saying that there have been more homes in their neighborhood lose power recently.
I mean, there's still trees that are hanging in various areas on different power lines that necessarily aren't down yet. So another storm could cause something to fall, and a storm could actually cause a tree that's not down to fall too. So there's chances are that we come across another circuit and another lateral that we have to power everything down further to clear, again, branches and, those kinds of things that we come across it. So there are chances of that happening. But that should be a shorter duration for those kinds of things.
So we work with National Weather Service out of Lincoln, and as far as how much warning, when they issued the tornado warning, we received it when you received it on your cell phone. It went to us at the same time that it went out to everyone else. However, we are in contact with them via phone or through chat room. They're both our options. They did call in to them that morning, and we had an idea that it was moving this way. It had already hit Quincy and was moving towards Springfield, so we were watching it carefully.
So the LDIRT team worked Thursday. The minute the storms hit, Brad Shivey was in our EOC with the rest of us and deployed that team. There was over 100 volunteers out on Thursday afternoon, late evening, early evening, late evening, and then they went back out on Friday morning. They cleared one entire street for us on Thursday, Milton Avenue, and one tree alone was 15 tons of debris that they took, just one tree. And I think that's where our citizens need to realize, I know it's frustrating to be without power, but the magnitude of what happened from the north side to the south side to the east side to the west side, it happened everywhere. So that LDIRT team is currently not deployed. What they do is they go in and clear, like I said, they cleared a whole street. They clear a whole area. They put a group of 100 guys together and just go. All of these are small dispersed areas. If we need to call, I know they would come in smaller groups if we needed them to. And what they help, though, is they don't help clear the street, which is what Public Works is doing. They actually help individual homeowners. They go to the homes and help the homeowners. So we have union contracts that we don't want to be in violation of, so they don't do the street work. We do the street work. They are helping the homeowners when they do that. When I was out with them on Henley Road at midnight on Thursday night, and by the way, I guess I was told multiple times this weekend that there's a rumor I was out drinking at a bar on Thursday night. I promise you I was not. So at midnight, when I was out with the LDIRT team, there was a man, and I mean, it's pitch black out, and how he knew we were there, God bless him, he rolled out of his house in his wheelchair, and he said, there's a huge tree in the back of my home, help. And they walked back there, and they brought this tree out from the back. And we would have never known, and I'm glad he was awake and saw us out there. But they would come back if we needed. The group that you referred to, the Illinois Baptist Disaster Relief Team, they're arriving on Wednesday to assess, and they will start work on Thursday, and they are the same. They only help homeowners. They're not here to help the city. So if you're a homeowner and you need help, because as Director Fuchs said, if it's on your personal property, we can't go on people's personal property and clean it. They can get online to www.springfield.il.us, and there was a link on our website where you can apply to get help from them. And they will help individual homeowners. The Illinois Baptist Disaster Relief Team will. If we find through that disaster relief team that's coming that there is more help needed, then we could help deploy LDIRT. I know they would go out. They care about the community, the LDIRT team does. Mr. Lopez? Oh, we have a question from the mayor. Come on up. So this is the mayor of Jerome, who was affected by these storms, by the way, folks.
I'll make my comments very short. My name is Mike Lopez, Religious Jerome President. I'm here to stand in partnership with the city of Springfield, regardless who the mayor or the elected officials or department heads are. It takes people to make a village and a city. We have been devastated very much so in the village of Jerome, but we rely on CWLP for our main electrical source. The mayor's office, Mr. Bisher, thank you very much for your assistance. The police, fire, and public works. We are a small island. We have reached out to the legislature representatives and to the governor's office, hoping to get calls back for some help. But I have a small avenue to use for media exposure. They don't exactly come and track me down, the media, like they do when they office calls. The office phone rings from the mayor's office. To the village of Jerome residents, be patient. I know you want to kick my butt. I know you want us to answer every call. We have a dumpster that has been donated by the Giro Stop because there's a shortage of dumpsters now. We have a dumpster at the Village Hall, 2901 Leonard, that will be there through the rest of the week to dispose of your food items. We have a police department on force. We will have a parade tomorrow in the village of Jerome, which I've got personal heat from some relatives of mine. But I think it's very important, like in 2006, you have to bring people together. Hy-Vee has donated some food. Limited supply, we will hand out some water and some famous breakfast hot dogs, but bring people's spirits up. As time permits, we will have a civic center open for cooling, and we'll post that on our media site and to other areas. But I want to commend the people behind me and the mayor and the staff and CWLP. Be patient. I know it's hard to view because we're talking maybe another few days, but it's going to take a while. We estimate we have roughly 85 to 90 residents in the village of Jerome out of 1,600 people that are without electricity, and it's very important for them. Refer to the phone numbers that were given by the mayor and their staff here, but remember, it's not just about people, it's about all of us together. I thank you and I commend you all for being here. Thank you, Mayor.
Thanks, Mike. Channel 20?
I don't know if there's really been that much of an increase. The things that probably happened yesterday could be from the storms that come through. So there could be other issues where, again, maybe it's not lightning, but it could be just that some winds and the rain knocked over another tree limb and took out the transformers for that area. So you're going to see that, and that's kind of normal issues, really. But I do want to say that, I touched on it, but again, previously, it's trying to give out some of the places where we work really wasn't indicative of whether your power is coming back or not, because people are like, well, we don't see you out in our neighborhood, or we see you, but we're still out. Now that we're going down to the laterals and going down lower, that's going to be more indicative, and we're going to be trying to post those on a more regular basis on our website and in social media to try to give locations of where we're focusing at.
So per city code, I have the ability to do that on my own. So I did that. I do need Governor J.B. Pritzker, don't get me wrong, but not for that. So I was able to declare emergency for the city, which allows me to have purchasing power without council approval and the ability to use the overtime that we did. That only lasts until the next council meeting. So our council members saw, thank you, Clerk Lesko, to your staff that expedited this process for us, because we sent them an email last night telling them that we needed them to update on the agenda for emergency passage. And I'm asking the council to extend the emergency order for me, because I can no longer do it by city code until the next council meeting. So the ask is there for the council to extend that. I hope they do. I know they all have homeowners in their area that would like to see their power on, and that's the best way to get that done. Alderman Redpath, you have a question? To my knowledge, he is not, and IEMA has been evaluating the state of Illinois. They were in my office today with all of us. They've been evaluating the state from the northern part of the state to the southern part of the state, because these storms did not just hit Springfield, they hit multiple areas in Illinois. But they look, according to IEMA, there's a series of checklists that have to be made in order to state that, and they're not there. So I don't know that that's going to happen at this time. And I'm sorry, 1450 is here. Did you have any questions back there? Okay. Did that help at all with your answer to your question? Well, the funding can still be there as long as the state of Illinois itself, statewide, exceeds $22 million in expenses from the storm, whether the governor declares that or not. And only time will tell, back to this gentleman's question in the front about the funding or the cost of everything. Only time will tell if we as a whole state get to that 22 million, because it's all the way from the top of the state to the bottom for that. So IEMA assists us with asking for the reimbursement through the,
A lot of that damage is, well, it's transmission line and distribution lines that are on that system, or on those poles. So we do have a transmission line crew that's been brought in from outside. That's the crew that's actually from New Jersey, and they're going to be working on that. That's probably going to be a week at least to repair that.
A lot of good information here, and as you've been out
So I made a Facebook video that we put out on Saturday. We put a drone video out last night that I don't think everybody got access to till this morning. But quite frankly, on Friday, we were just triaging, trying to assess the damage still. And I had to get the city council agenda out. As mayor, I have to sign all the ordinances and go through all that. My regular job still took place besides the storm, unfortunately. I started my day Friday at 6 a.m. out with the Public Works crew, came into the office, had several meetings about the storm with the people behind me, went and did my mayor's office job, went back to these meetings. I mean, every day I'm up from 6 in the morning till midnight with these storms, so don't think it's not important. But we were triaging and assessing, and today we could actually put some of these calculations together. And quite frankly, I wouldn't mind if Doug would touch on just the confusion of when something gets repaired at City Water, Light and Power, what can happen with our outages and our numbers and how we have to correct those once we repaired, like the feeders.
Kind of getting back to your question too, the assessment of the damage wasn't just, going, it was definitely going on Friday, but it continued really up into yesterday. As we got, our main feeders back on and then started getting into the laterals, that's where we started being able to see that, what the damage was. So that's when we knew pretty much last night. And the mayor really wanted to get with all the agencies to have a plan in place of what we're going to offer to the public, why they have these extended outages. And then understanding the outage map issues, our people they clear a main feeder, and then they have to put back all the people back into the system to avoid the predictive feature out of it. So that takes time as well, away from resources that to try to maintain that to the public. But the main thing, though, and the delays, I think, were just assessing the sheer amount of damage.
And Director Folks just reminded me, we did do a media call on Thursday evening with all of you, a Zoom call, because we were in our emergency response center. That's why it was Zoom, because we did not want to leave that center as we were trying to get everything taken care of. So we did a Zoom call. Most of you here were on that call. And then most of you interviewed me yesterday too, because I was available for interviews yesterday with the media as well. So I was out and about all day Saturday. It's not that we're not available. We've been around, talking to everybody. Absolutely, yeah. As Doug stated, this is last night, the phone call I got from Doug was the first time they were able, after the feeders were put back online, to actually give us some true good numbers to look at, to be honest with you about what's going on. Otherwise, we could have told you things, but they wouldn't have been the truth, so that wouldn't have been worthwhile. So, yeah, we don't want to lie to you, yeah. But it's all hands on deck. So Thursday evening, again, I was out till past midnight. We had crews out. Everybody was working. Friday, I authorized all the overtime. So if we're not in your face talking to you with a microphone in my mouth, we're working very diligently to get everything restored and employing our personnel to have the tools they need. And quite frankly, no offense to the media, but the more work I can get done and decisions I can get made, the better. So that takes time. So I was here last night signing the executive order, and I emailed the aldermen to let them know I signed it to extend it up until their meeting. Then corporate counsel was here emailing our aldermen, letting them know that we're putting this on emergency passage. She emailed Clerk Lesko to warn him that we needed that done first thing in the morning. So we're communicating all hours of the day, and I think the media knows that we were there for them, so. And please always, not just the website, but watch our Facebook and our Twitter. The City and the Utilities Facebook page is always live, constantly updating, and the Twitter feed, I think, I don't know about ours, was slightly down from Facebook, but Facebook, we're on there all the time, so you can also get updates on social media. And I know our aldermen share all that as well, so. Alderman Donlin, do you have anything you want to add? He was out today knocking on doors, I know. Okay. He was knocking on doors talking to constituents in his area without power, so you have your aldermen and alderwomen who do care. Alderman Redpath, do you have anything you want to say? Representative Coffey. All right, Clerk Lesko. I think Mayor Lopez spoke, so I think I have all the elected officials in the room covered. All right, thank you all.
Thank you for your time, Mayor.
Thank you. Thank you for being here. I'm sorry I didn't know.
How are you? Thank you. Good seeing you.